Intamin is innovating once again, and today we are looking at the new release of Intamin's concepts for their vertical launch coaster, which is the first of its kind and the strongest vertical launch on the market. And I've got Corvus, who absolutely loves Intamin. So I've got Corvus joining me to talk about these kind of designs that we're seeing. So Corvus, how are you doing?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Good. And Intamin's your favorite manufacturer, right?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, so as you can kind of see, this is the first initial kind of commercial talking about obviously one that's kind of themed around space and stuff. And this looks really incredible. To actually be launched vertical looks really, really cool. So Corvus, what are your thoughts overall on these new designs that Intamin released?
I think it's really good. If this is what the predetermined layouts of coasters are going to look like over the next few years, I'm all for it. They look really good.
And they're pretty compact too. So they fit in this tight space, but also, and I like how in these videos we'll see kind of the different, the different names that Intamin's come up with for certain elements. And so like 22 dynamic elements and that kind of short of a track space is pretty unique.
I think with the actual vertical launch as well, it'd be really helpful for parks that don't have that much footprint, because they can get in much taller and much faster coasters without having to build like really long launch sections or really big lift hills.
Yeah, totally agree. And so this one looks to be a little bit more truly horizontal than the other one, and this is the little bit, I think this is the larger of the two layouts. I know personally, like I haven't been on anything that I've been on one Mauer Sky Loop and two Gerstlauer coasters, and it's pretty terrifying going straight up like that. So I can only imagine how terrifying that must be actually being launched going straight up. So
I imagine you get quite a lot of airtime at the top, cresting the top hat almost as well.
Yeah, definitely, especially being in the back row, and so that double up looks really good too.
It almost reminds me a lot of like a modern version of Fahrenheit.
Yes. Was Fahrenheit Intamin? And I feel bad for asking that.
Yeah, I think it's just called like an Intamin multi-looper or something.
Okay, yeah. That's a really good point. And a lot of unique elements, like there you see the kind of Fury 325 style overbank turn there. The turnaround that we see on some Eurofighters and stuff. That's interesting. They call that a flat spin instead of a 0G roll. It's kind of interesting seeing the names they come up with for the elements.
Really like the low to the ground sections at the end. It reminds me of like the second half of Hyperion. I think they're starting to do that a lot more with the newer coasters now. Like they'll have the first half of the layout like really big elements, and then the second half is like really snappy low to the ground elements.
So that was the first of the two kind of installments with Intamin's design. And here's the second one, which this one looks a little bit smaller of a footprint, but it looks a little bit cooler to me because look at that first drop on the top hat. That looks so unique.
It's almost like, is it the Premier Rides coaster that has like the tallest, is it the tallest inversion of the world? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, it's the SNS. Are you talking about?
The SNS, yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about.
I kind of got like that inversion to start off with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's steel curtain, and so I mean that first drop of that top hat looks really cool and unique, and it still carries a lot of the same elements, but then that's got a little bit of it's not really a stall because you do a loop, but you kind of stall into that loop, so that's really, really cool.
I like that they have that same like little dive before the launch up the hill.
Yeah, I agree.
They're both kind of like a little bridge.
Yeah, I just imagine that on those top hats, you'd be getting pretty good airtime in the back row.
I think that's one of the things I like most about Intamin. Like they're always making new things. Like some of these transitions and stuff, and they like the stall into the inversion that we saw earlier. Like they're all kind of like he says, they're like world's first elements almost. Like constantly innovating.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of some of the new Vacomas we see, like with phonics and stuff, or phonics and stuff, and some of the unique shaping on some of the elements. Looks really, really good.
Yeah, that element was almost like the first inversion on phonics, like the stall. It was almost like that, but like a more larger and drawn out version of it.
Yeah, that side stall looks very unique. Yeah, I'll say this though, I think Intamin would probably jump up on my manufacturer list if I rode some of their newer rides, because I haven't really been on a new Intamin ride, and we need more of them here in the US, which it seems like we're starting to get them, so I mean that's a good sign for sure.
I think they've definitely ramped up how many of the newer rides they're building. Obviously there's the one in, is it Park Warner Madrid, and then there's the one at Park Asterix as well that's getting built at the moment.
Yeah, totally agree. So alright, we're going to check out the POV of this coaster. Yeah, so we were talking during that, and to me, it's interesting because this one's got it's a smaller layout overall, but it seemed to have a cooler design. And then now we're just going to take a look at one of these, and this is the only one that's been built in real life so far. And I mean, the design of it looks really, really cool. So overall, as we wrap this video up, what are your final thoughts?
I really like them. I like that Intamin are constantly innovating. I can't wait to see more of them get installed, because there's a lot of new Intamins especially being built at the moment, so I'm just waiting to see which one gets announced to have one of these vertical LSMs. That'd be really interesting. Yeah, totally agree. Well, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for joining me, Corvus, and hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.